you will have benefit within the first 6 weeks. You will be a different person at 6 months. And after 12 months, you will be permanently different forever, but it doesn't end. You keep going because you can always be better at a deadlift, you can always be better at a clean and press, and you can always be better at a squat and a snatch. How do you lay out 10 years of training? How do you become better on the final day of 10 years than you were on day one? This is going to be a nerdy training video. We do one of these every year where we talk about programming, what and how we practice them, and then why everything is there. This is specific to my programs, but the ideas carry over, the core ideas can carry over to other programs from other coaches or programs you yourself write. We're breaking all of our programs down into phases. We have phase 1 where we're trying to restore athletes. We have phase 2, think of this like Olympic lifting. This is a multi-year strategy where you get mathematically and provably better at core programs like any type of professional athlete. And then we have phase 3, which is meant to be training that pushes you beyond phase 2 training, beyond pure numbers into being ready for anything all the time. Phase 1 training is where the majority of people in the modern population are. Something like 90% of the population is now metabolically unhealthy. We live in the modern world, we don't eat natural food, we don't live in natural environments. The majority of people no longer work outside 5 days a week. If you work outside 5 days a week, you are now a minority, and your health is also a minority. Phase 1 programs are about restoring people to a basic human standard. We want to restore how they stand. If you work in an office, people tend to have postural deviations from sitting down all the time. We sit in cars to drive to the office, we sit in the office, we come home, we sit on the couch, we watch TV. Our goal is to restore our standing structure through a series of useful movements which then develop across the idea for 10 years. The first program we're going to talk about is what we call TOI, training for overweight or deconditioned individuals. This is now 70+% of the population. Metabolically unhealthy is different from heavier than they would like to be. Majority of people are metabolically unhealthy because we simply don't walk or move as much as we should. But 70% of the population is overweight. We're approaching 50% of the population being obese. 5 out of 10 people will probably start with training for overweight or deconditioned individuals. There are a couple of pieces of that program. The core of it is working on a squat, a deadlift, and a press. It doesn't matter if you're an NFL athlete or deconditioned, these 3 ideas hold. And you will notice that they hold all the way through phase 1 to phase 3. TOI is about building people's core movement patterns back up and restoring that standing structure. It's a simple idea that does not mean easy. This tends to be the most difficult program for people to do because it is hard on a cellular level to train if you are deconditioned or overweight. Your body does not want to do this. It has adapted to whatever it is you do in life, and adapting it to a different state of cellular health is a hard thing, and it physically hurts. Your brain will tell you to stop. If you get through the TOI program, that is the most impressive thing on this entire board. The key thing in TOI is the intensity waves. It runs on a 4-week cycle, and it starts with a low amount of work capacity, and it gets harder every week as you go through it, and then it resets. This is a key idea in training. It can't be constantly hard. Some days need to be easy and doable. They need to get more difficult in a progressive, predictable strategy so people can mentally prepare to be uncomfortable, and then it needs to reset. No program can go straight up forever. All programs need to be waves. The TOI program does that. It allows people to adapt slowly over time and then have rest days, low volume days. TOI moves towards the next phase 1 program, which is what we call ITK, Intro to Kettlebell. This program begins people on a path of metabolic reconditioning, changing how the body works on a cellular level, and we do that by using a kettlebell. Kettlebells are simple, they're cheap, they're affordable, and they allow you to do training for 10 years. Barbells are cool, but they do not do what kettlebells do. Dumbbells do not do what kettlebells do. Because kettlebells have an offset center of mass, they change the way your skeleton works, the way your structure works. By practicing core lifts, deadlift pattern, squat pattern, press pattern, with a kettlebell, you'll move the kettlebell from one side of your body in front to behind your body, and you will learn to stand up better. Dumbbells and barbells work fantastic for people who already stand up well. Athletes, people who are already in shape. People who are deconditioned should use kettlebells because it allows them to learn to stand up better. Better structure, better everything. ITK is a simple program that does not mean easy. Everything in the program is about getting to the clean. Squat, deadlift, press, clean. These are core ideas that you need to understand in order to train for 10 years. If you're an NFL player, you are doing a version of clean. If you're in the military, you do a version of a clean. Clean means getting a weight to shoulder height and learning to stand all the way up. If you work for a living outside, then you pick things up and you carry them. The first movement is a clean. It is a basic human movement, and if you get really good at it, everything else gets a lot easier. The next part of phase one is Indian clubs. This is about posture. When people are deconditioned, they tend not to stand up well. Indian clubs help people learn to stand up better. Because it is a lever, there is feedback. There is a consequence for doing things less well. So they encourage you to do things more well over time. Everything in phase one is about learning to have better structure so that you can then stack performance on top of structure. If you don't stand up well and you don't breathe well, your rib cage doesn't expand and contract well, then stacking performance on top of it is unlikely to work. In order to train for 10 years, many people need to restore their standing structure, restore their breathing, and restore the way that their shoulders and their hips work so that they can stack performance. Everything in Indian clubs is focused on two things. They're what we call heart-shaped circles. This is towards our center line. Think of this as an inside heart-shaped circle, and then the opposite of that is outside, moving away from our center line, heart-shaped circles. Simple does not mean easy. The Indian club program is 19 weeks long. It's meant for people who are really injured. It is not a fancy advanced program. It starts at 4 minutes a day and it builds up to 30 minutes a day. If you can swing a 1 to 2 pound club for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, you are developing well, and then we can stack performance on top of that. Deconditioned, develop the clean, restore shoulders, and then there's another section here called single arm club, where we work with a heavy club in one hand and we focus on inside circle, outside circle, and shield cast. Both of these are baked in to both of these programs. We are now selling this as a phase one subscription, so all of this training is in one place. We sell things as a subscription so that we can continue to pay an editor to make it better every month forever. Phase one and phase three are living programs. They get better based on user feedback every month forever. That's the idea. The goal is to get people to start here, and then they can jump to ITK at any point that they want, and then they can run through this with 5 to 10 weights. If you did that for a year or 2 years, you can go from a hospital bed to doing very well, doing better than probably anybody you know. Phase two subscriptions are about building. This idea comes directly from collegiate college training. The difference is we're doing what we consider Olympic lifting. If you're a collegiate athlete, we're just doing it with a kettlebell. Barbells in Olympic lifting setups are expensive, and the majority of people do not own their own homes. They live in apartments and they cannot drop a 400-pound barbell on their floor. With kettlebells, we work on all the same movement patterns, but we never drop anything. Kettlebells are a better solution that costs less and allow you to train for years. The goal here is somewhere around 5 years, but this can extend up to 8 years, just like Olympic lifting. A swing is a deadlift program. It's just an endurance deadlift. Clean and press, pretty standard in any type of program. Doesn't matter what type of athletic training you're doing, you have a swing and a clean and press. Swing is deadlift. Deck squat is squat. Clean and press is press. Clean is clean. Everything you do in phase 1 training goes to phase 2 training. Some people might start here if you work outside 5 days a week or you go to the gym or you're a BJJ athlete, you're probably going to be doing phase 2. You are never done with phase 2 programs. This is a subscription because this has to change as the population changes. You purchase these programs because you're going to use them for the next 5 to 8 years. We want you to track data so you can mathematically prove you're getting better. It's just like Olympic lifting. There's a lot of kettlebell guys out there who say, oh, you can do this way faster. You can, but my goal isn't to do everything fast. My goal is to do everything well, to get long-term sustainable benefit, like Olympic lifting. I'm going to say Olympic lifting a million times. There is a 6-week Olympic lifting program, but your average professional athlete has been doing Olympic lifting for 8 years. So you should do an at-home version of it and start now and chase 8 years. You will have benefit within the first 6 weeks. You will be a different person at 6 months. And after 12 months, you will be permanently different forever, but it doesn't end. You keep going because you can always be better at a deadlift. You can always be better at a clean and press, and you can always be better at a squat and a snatch. Other things in phase 2, kettlebells, clubs. Clubs should be a part of every athlete's training. Humans have thumbs for a reason. I say this all the time. I'm going to say it a million times. It's because we're tool users. It's what separates us from everything else on the planet. Our ability to swing our shoulder in conjunction with the rotation of our core is a key human trait. If you look at sports, baseball, swing, you swing a club, right? Tennis, you swing a club. Sword fighting, you swing a club. If you build a house, you use a hammer, you swing a club. If you dig a hole, you use a shovel, you swing a club. Clubbing should be a part of everybody's training. You'll notice it's over here in a simple form, and over here, it's a more complex form where we're going up in weight. There are 2 versions of club swinging. 2 hands-on, we call this the basis of strength program, and it's a 5-year program. It's a nutso giant, huge Paleolithic Olympic lifting program. 2 hands on a club. With phase 2, we're shooting to get people from, say, 15 pounds for men to 50 pounds. That means men would repeat the program 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. They would repeat the program 8 times. Your everything is a movement. There are no muscle days here. There is only movement because we're training like athletes. Athletes tend not to do bicep day. They tend to do clean day. They tend to do track day. They do athletic things. Athletic things tend to be verbs. When we swing a club, we are doing an athletic movement that is always a power movement. Kettlebells are your fundamentals. Think of it like Olympic lifting. Clubs are your basis of all sports. Every movement that's a throwing pattern, whether it's throwing a punch or throwing a baseball or throwing a back handspring, is a throwing pattern. There are proto-throwing patterns. This is what they are. These are 2 programs in here, 2 hands on a club and single arm on a club. When we do single arm club, the basis is always inside circle, outside circle, shield cast. When we go into phase 2 training, we are chasing the mill, which is proto-throwing pattern for sport, crossing your center line. Think of throwing a baseball or a football, and reverse mill, moving away from our center line. Think of this as sport. Think of this as self-defense. Then we have bodyweight programs. Kettlebells are lifting and carrying, a core human activity. Clubs are throwing patterns. Getting up off of the ground is something every athlete should be able to do. It is a key athletic human skill, and you should be really good at it. In the gym, you would think of it as a burpee. If you're a Marine or an Army guy, you probably did a lot of burpees. If you're a BJJ guy, you do a technical stand-up. We do a version of it called a judo get-up. We do a self-defense get-up. Bodyweight 101 is just basic. What are the most important families of movement? A screwing push-up is working on a push-up, but doing it in such a way that we can avoid back sway, which is a major problem. And prone get-up is our version of a burpee. Think of it as a technical burpee. Both of these have a problem that when people do it, if they have pain, they usually have back sway. They're losing their core contraction. The reason we do screwing push-up and prone push-up is we are eliminating back sway, so we are getting better at moving without getting hurt. Phase 2 training, you're never done with it. Absolutely ever. I still do it. I've been doing it for 20 years. You're gonna get injured. You're gonna come back to it. If you want to build a truly Herculean physique, then this is the basis of it. If you're in the gym, it's deadlift and clean and press. Go read Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, deadlifting, clean and press. A snatch is a clean and press where you skip the middle. Every program should have a squat. The difference is with a kettlebell squat, we are adding complexity instead of weight. We do add weight. People are usually chasing 40 kilogram with this. Men, really big guys, normal people, probably 32 kilogram. Ladies, probably 20 to 24 kilogram. But this is the squat that saves your life. I credit this movement with saving my life probably at least 3 times. I've come off dirt bikes, I fell in the circus. The reason I am alive is because of deck squats. Barbell back squats are great, and I highly recommend you do them if you have access to a gym. This one's definitely gonna save your life. These are all independent programs. They all run on their own math, and you're gonna do them for the next 5 to 8 years. We have you buy these programs because we want you to just do them for 8 years. We have big weight goals in them, right? You're gonna go through this program at least 8 times, right? With this one, you're probably gonna do 15 to 30 pounds for men and 2.5 pound increments. That means 15, 17.25, 20, 22.5, 25, 27.5, 30. You're gonna run through that program at least 7 times. Each full time through this program at twice a week is probably 6 months. That's probably 3.5 years on its own. You do not have to stop at 30. I've taken it all the way up to 45, which is insane and not everybody's gonna do, but it is my job, so I gotta be good at what I talk about. And then get-ups. Getting up off of the ground is a basic human skill. Lifting and carrying is a basic human skill. Throwing is a basic human skill. Getting up off of the ground after you've fallen badly is a basic human skill. Phase 3 programs are what we've finally gotten to in this last year. This is where we push beyond pure math numbers and we start to get into some more entertaining concepts. You can think of this as superhero 101. We're not going to talk about the fight portion of this in this video. We're talking about just the training portion. Double club. We go from single arm club, because you can move the club around your body and it's easy to do with inside circle, outside circle shield cast. We go to 2 hands on the club where we emphasize rotation, making sure that we have an athletic ability to rotate under load. You'll hear trainers say you can't train throwing patterns with weight. They just don't know about this type of training. We go to single arm where we make sure that our body works equally well on both sides of our body so we can get to this. Double club means that we go from 2 hands on to 1 hand on. Then we go to a much higher athletic demand where we put 1 club in each hand. We stop and isolate movement on one side while producing movement on the other side. This idea is about 5,000 years old that we know of. It's probably older, but it's the best way to train athleticism and strength in the least amount of time for the least amount of money. Those were double 14Ks. It's about double 30. That's high level. Most athletes, even well-trained guys, will start with things like double 10s because isolating one side from movement on the other side and going back and forth is a hard athletic skill. This is all in one giant subscription program because we want to add to it forever. Double club contains 60 different workouts. Everything is developing towards versions of mill and reverse mill. And the goal is to get to that with double 30s, and then the reverse version of that. These don't repeat. When we're doing phase 2, it's like Olympic lifting. You're working on a specific movement pattern. You're going up in weight. Hey, bud, you wanna come over? In double club, we have 25 core movements, and then we adjust the order of them every day. The goal of this is you never get bored. You've already mastered the basics, and now we are changing what we are doing every day. This program is designed to be done 2 or 3 times a week, and most people are gonna start probably around double 10s, and they are gonna go to double 30s. The difference is we're going up in 1.25 pound jumps. So if you have, let's say, a 30-pound mill, we're gonna go at 40 to 50% of that. People are gonna start at double 12.5 or double 15. Depends. We don't know, there's no test for it other than picking it up and trying it. And then they're gonna go 15, 16.25, 17.5, 18.75, 20. You're gonna go through a lot of weights. It's a multi-year strategy. The goal of everything, hospital bed, build, somewhere in there, you're gonna jump to these non-repeating programs, and we're easily gonna get to 10 years of training. The reason we use kettlebells and clubs is because they're cheap, relatively. A month of CrossFit at most CrossFit gyms is $250. This giant club is under $250, and it lasts forever. So we want people to use the same equipment all the way from here, all the way through. The goal is to pick the best equipment and then use programs that make you move the best for the longest period of time and get mathematically provably better. There is a 2-hand version of the club here, which is an evolution of this program. What's the difference? This is predictable levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, because you have to repeat a level until you master the core idea. The goal is mastery. This is chaos. There are different weights and different movements every single day. Think of this as WODs in CrossFit. In CrossFit, you have workout of the day. In CrossFit, you go and you tend to do your Olympic lifts or your barbell lifts for, let's say, 20 minutes. Think of a CrossFit class, 8-minute warm-up, 2-minute transition, 20 minutes on their barbell basics, and then they spend the rest of the time on a WOD, a workout of the day, a non-repeating thing. The day is chaos. The goal is the chaos so that you can adapt to chaos. Level 3 is the chaos level. Double club. You're still getting better at core lifts and going up in weight. 2-handed club, the workout is different every day. We're chasing 80 pounds for men. For 2-handed club, we're going between 50 pounds, this ends around 50 pounds, and then we're taking that skill and we're chasing 80 pounds. 80 pounds is a historical number that we see show up in history. Think about an 80-pound club and what moving that is going to do to your body. You have to be really good at maintaining core structure and integrity. This means you are incredibly strong and you are adaptable to anything, and you're really, really hard to hurt. Conan program, think of this as like barbell, think of this as 5 sets of 5 strength training. We go to 2 kettlebells, think of almost all of this as single kettlebell, less expensive. 2 kettlebells, more expensive. This is all about chasing pure strength. So double swings, double clean and press, double snatch. We call this the Conan program. The idea comes directly from Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're just taking the barbell idea and we're adapting it to kettlebells. In phase 3, there's also Kettlebell Metcons, single and double, and it alternates back and forth forever with as many weights as you have. There are something like 1,000 workouts in this. They're not all in there yet. They're still being edited, but we're shooting for 50 of these and 50 of these to start. And then you can repeat all of those with every weight we have. So in the beginning, we're gonna put these in 5 workout blocks, or that's the idea. We edit 5, we edit 5, we edit the next 5, and we keep adding to it, and then we enter it with all the weights that you can do. The Bodyweight program, I'm super proud of. This is my giant latest creation in order to keep myself alive. I had a lot of injuries last year that caused my metabolism to go wonky. That caused me, just like we talked about back here, to become one of the 90% of population where my cells are not working well. This body weight program, we call it Stakeout because I was talking to a stunt guy and we were talking about 80s movies, and there's an 80s movie called Stakeout, and we were talking about training and we just liked the name. It's designed to be done in a very small space, a hotel room. We're still keeping things like dip bars and pull-up bars out of it. It's still meant to be done anywhere, so you can go explore. We're freeing ourselves from the gym. Body weight program, there are currently in there 3 Alpha to Zulu programs. That means 78 non-repeating body weight workouts. If you get through all 78, add a weight vest, do it again. You can chase a 50-pound weight vest. This one is 20K, that's 44 pounds. Most people are gonna go all the way through this, different metabolic formats every day, different movements every day. Think of this designed like a WOD with more structure to it. Once you get through it, you add weight and you do the whole thing again, and then you add weight and you do it again. Chase about 40 to 50 pounds because that's a reasonable load for the human skeleton to carry. If you're a firefighter, chase the 80-pound weight vest. Abs program came out last year. It is not a phase 2 program, it is a phase 3 program. There are 300 different workouts in there. There are 60 different 3-minute workouts, 60 4-minute workouts. I don't know how many 5-minute workouts, and then it goes 26-minute, 27-minute, 28 minutes, and it builds up. You could do a different ab program every day for an entire year. This is what we call a kicker. If you're doing something like a phase 2 program where you're chasing numbers for 5 to 8 years, oftentimes people stop getting as much response out of it because the time under tension and the movement is the same. The abs program is specifically designed as a kicker. You can do a 3-minute one at the beginning of training, a 4-minute one at the end of training, and they never line up the same way with this program ever again. It is a way to make people more attractive and make them continue to move better for the least amount of time. These go all the way up to 12 minutes of straight core training. If you get through all 20 of the 12-minute ones, you're hardcore. It's incredibly hard. Most people kind of tail out around the 8-minute one. 8 minutes of straight core is pretty hard. You can do these in any order you want. They are laid out in weeks, but you can do them in any order you want. You can do them in any order you want. The same thing is true of bodyweight stakeout. The same thing is true of double club. Any order you want. You don't have to do it from the top to the bottom of the list. Pick one and do it at the weight that's appropriate and run through it. Phase 3 is an ever-evolving giant monster of training. There are years of training already in there. Phase 2 is you buy the program because we want you just to work on this one thing, like it's a deadlift program in the gym. You work on your swing, and you're going to work on it for 3 years at least. Your clean and press program, when you get to 32K as a guy, you can stop. If you're not at 32K, keep going, right? Deck squat, get to 32K. Practice that one movement like you're in the gym, like you're doing back squat, like you're doing deadlift, like you're doing bench. The difference is you're just doing it at home. Phase 1 is all about restoring that standing structure. This is how you train for 10 years. You give yourself a clear series of ideas, and you're never done. When I get hurt, which I get hurt a lot because I fall off of dirt bikes or fall off of things, a lot of falling down, you go back and you go back to ITK, and its goal is to restore your movement. When I get hurt, the worst thing I can do is stop moving for 6 weeks. I go down the scale and I go to a lighter weight and I continue to move so I don't get out of the habit of moving. If I don't train for 10 days, I essentially become a complete, I don't walk well. I lose an ability to walk. I have to continue to move in order to keep all of my injuries working. We don't want to beat ourselves up. The goal isn't to get more injured. The goal is to get less injured. The goal is to live without pain. The goal is to stack performance on top of that so we can go out and do whatever crazy thing we want to do in life. This is the plan for 10 years of training. It goes beyond that. I'm at 20 years plus 25 years of training now, but this is the idea. Clubs will always heal you. Even if you're adding muscle with them, they keep your body moving the way it needs to move. Lifting and carrying is the basis of your work capacity. Then getting up off of the ground is pretty key. Any type of martial art, you get up off of the ground. If you dirt bike, you're gonna hit the ground. If you go to the track, you're gonna hit the ground. If you're in the circus, you're gonna hit the ground. If you climb a mountain, you're probably gonna hit the ground. Getting up off of the ground is a key human skill. Everything is scalable, everything is trackable. It's a nerdy idea. That's the point. Nobody gets through life without being a real nerd. If you're a motorcycle racer, you're nerdy about that. If you're a car guy, you're nerdy about that. If you climb mountains, you're a nerd about knots. Be a nerd. Figure out what you need to do. Get good equipment that supports your ability to do all of the things you want to do, and never quit. Train for 10 years. There is no 6-week program.